seat. My name is Max and I'm your examiner. Please tell me your full name.
My name is Ngọc Hà. You can call me Hà.
Sure. So now I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself, all right?
Sure.
So I'd like to begin by asking you about where you live. What do you like most about your hometown?
Well, being born in Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam, I think what attracts me most about this city is just its cultural and historical background. The city of 7 million people or so has witnessed so many highs and lows throughout the history of Vietnam, and it just astounds me how much story is packed into this small city.
And is your hometown a popular place for tourists to visit?
Hanoi is definitely one of the most famous tourist destinations in the Southeast Asia region. I think this is for many reasons. The first is because of its scenery. As I've mentioned, Hanoi has so much to offer to tourists who want to have, a new glimpse of life. And the second reason is just the local cuisine. You know about pho and bún chả and so many other Hanoi signature foods, which really attract tourists from all over the place. And the third reason is definitely its affordability. Because Hanoi is so cheap, it attracts so many young backpackers who just travel the entire world.
And has your hometown changed much in recent years?
It has definitely changed. As I've said, Hanoi has experienced the highs and lows of Vietnamese history. And now we are seeing so many dramatic shifts in the city. The first thing is that due to its booming economic development, there has been an increasing influx of immigrants, not only from nearby cities, but also for expatriates from all over the world. The second thing that is changing is definitely its modernization. The pace of industrialization has a marked effect on the city and on the landscape even. We see skyscrapers and towering over the cities, and I think Hanoi is definitely on its way to globalization and modernization.
All right, so let's move on to talk about writing. So what are the different types of writing that you do?
I think there are two main types of writing that I usually do. The first thing is argumentative essay as part of a class assignment, because I am an English specialization, and so I often have to write essays in my second language, which is English. The second type of writing that I usually do is formal correspondence. I do this in my extracurricular projects, organizations, and clubs.
Do you prefer writing with a pen or using a computer?
I think it really depends on the purposes of the writing. If I am doing a class assignment or I'm writing a formal letter as part of my extracurricular project, then I definitely prefer using a computer just because it's much more convenient, and also I can do a lot of editing on it. But if it is for personal purpose, like writing a letter or journaling, then using a paper definitely has that sense of intimacy.
And do you write more now or less than you did a few years ago?
I think by and large, I definitely write so much more often now than a couple of years ago. Because as I grow up, the burden of writing definitely increases. I have to involve myself in more class workload and also in more projects, and therefore, of course, the opportunities of writing definitely change.
And do you ever like to write stories or poems?
Well, when I was a little bit younger, more naive, then I did churn out some fictional stories, but then unfortunately, I discovered myself to be lacking in the literary gifts, so I've set the work of writing poems and stories for my more gifted friends.
Okay, so let's move on to talk about music. How often do you listen to music?
I listen to music almost daily because I think music is definitely a great part of my life. I really appreciate the stories and the emotions that are expressed by the artists as they put those human thoughts into their musical works.
Do you ever download music from the internet?
As a Gen Z, the generation of social media and the internet, I am in a habit of downloading music from streaming platforms like Spotify and YouTube. I think these streaming platforms really make it convenient for me to listen to music anywhere, anywhen I want. And also, I think streaming platforms afford me some kind of accessibility because not every music work is easily marketable and introduced to the masses in forms of CDs.
Have you always liked the same kind of music?
No, because as my life experience changes and as my personality differs from time to time, I think that my music taste also changes with it. So, for example, when I was smaller, when I was in secondary school, I was really into pop music, Taylor Swift, Katy Perry. But now, as I grew a little bit older, I am more drawn to sophisticated music, such as rock or more experimental types of music.
And is there a musical instrument you would like to learn to play?
I think right now, I really want to learn how to play an electric guitar. Well, even though I do know how to play an acoustic guitar myself, I think that because I listen to rock bands more nowadays, I am attracted by the idea of jamming to my favorite rock song with an electric guitar from my favorite band. That idea seems really fascinating to me.